I'm just putting some finishing touches. Don't mind me. Hope everyone's having a good day. Hope everyone's having a good almost New Year. Almost there, pretty dang close. Oops. That looks about right. See if anybody's joined in yet. Nope. We are all alone still. We'll wait a bit, see if people join in, then we can start. Should maybe turn this music down a bit. I don't know how loud it is. But we'll start here in a second, start ranking these things. You'll hear my harsh judgment. Sword, welcome. Are you going to rank these games side by side with me, even if you've never played them? What's crazy is I actually played less unique games this year than I did previous years. So maybe I was kind of lacking this year. I don't know what happened. 'Cause in previous years, I've come close to 100 games, and in this one, if my list is accurate, it's about 60. So the stream might not be super long either. But, yeah, I guess I have to do a disclaimer, even though there's only one person here to hear the disclaimer, but, you know, these are just my opinions. You know, everyone has their own personal tastes in video games. This happens to be mine. So, you know, I don't want anybody to get mad if I'm happen to rank games they like lower. You know, it just is how it is what it is, you know? Ah. I think this is the first time I'm actually doing it the day before New Year's Eve. Usually I do it on New Year's Eve, but I'm I'm gonna be going to my friend Mike's tomorrow, and I usually do go to his for New Year's Eve, but I'm gonna go. I want to go not too late because I'm bringing one of the dishes that we're gonna have. The ingredients for the dish. We're gonna make it there probably. So I don't want to, I want to make sure I can leave early enough. I figured I'd get this out of the way today. Maybe I should have waited to do this a bit later though. Doesn't seem like there's very many people active right now. How's everyone doing? How's everybody doing? If anyone's listening right now, is the volume level okay? I don't want the background music to be too loud. Just let me know. Although the volume might go up and down depending on what song's playing too. You know, this is gonna be annoying for people watching the VOD later. So maybe I should just start this. It's been almost 10 minutes. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna do this in alphabetical order. I might want to... Maybe let's start with something that's not too controversial. Let's see here. Let's see, what would I start with? What do I start with? Anybody in chat have an idea? What game should I start with? What should I rank first? Oh, you can't even see all the games. I just realized because the way I've cropped the screen. So the tier list is larger. What would be non-controversial? Hey Dingleberry. Nightfire? Well, see, the problem with that is I think that's a really popular game, and I think that will be controversial because... Screw it. We'll do that first. So, 007 Nightfire, it seemed to be a game that a lot of people liked. On account of my stream, got a lot of views of it. I personally had trouble getting into it. I don't know. I just remember the gameplay was kind of hard to figure out. And maybe I didn't have the same nostalgia because I didn't play the game growing up. GoldenEye I played. So honestly I would have it in the didn't much like these. I did think about going back to Nightfire sometime because it was a really popular game. I just never got around to it. Maybe I would end up liking it more, I don't know. Dingleberry said, I thought it was just okay, long story short. Okay, so you thought it was just okay. For me, it was a little bit lower than that. I didn't really care for it personally. I don't think it's the worst game ever, but personally, I didn't really care for it. I want to balance this out, so why don't we put in a positive game? Here's Chulip. Chulip was a really weird PS2 game. I think it was by some of the same people who did a couple other weird games. It might be Chibi Robo and something else. I wish Fak was here right now. He would remember some of the other games that some of the same people worked on it. The Chulip was like a really bizarre but interesting PS2 game where your whole goal is you're trying to kiss people. Well, really your top goal is to kiss the girl you have a crush on, but you have to kiss like everybody else in town to build up your power so you can kiss her. And it's actually interesting. It sounds weird, though it is weird, but the fact that there's all these different types of people that have to be, you have to do these specific things to kiss them. Like, oh, you might have to be in a cornfield at 3 in the morning, or you have to bring an item to a certain part of the town at a certain time. It is kind of sus, Heaven's Research, but it's an interesting game too. The only thing that's really holding it back is it's very cumbersome in places. It's very inconveniencing in a lot of ways. A lot of the things you have to do feel very very convoluted or very tricky to figure out. So that is some of the things that holds it back a little bit. If you want to just play with a guide, that probably makes the game a lot more enjoyable. But because it's an interesting concept, it's weird, and it's just a kind of a cool, weird game, I would put it in high joy, personally. Really interesting game. If you're not using a guide, it would probably drop down, just because it does get really frustrating if you don't know, you know, exactly what it is you need to be doing. Dingleberry says, it's just Japanese humor, I wouldn't read too much into it. I mean, there's Japanese humor, and then there's like, there's definitely bizarre, it's a bizarre concept of a game still, like even beyond that, like, it's a weird game. I kind of get what you mean though. So there's that. So Heaven's Research mentioned Bloons. So Bloons was a really popular game. It's one of those kind of just, one of those games you could just put on casually and just play it. It's kind of a chill game, even though it gets kind of intense at high levels. It was my first time playing it recently, and you know what? I was shocked that actually I had a good amount of fun with it. It's not one of my favorite games. It's not usually even the kind of game I play. I don't usually get into tower defense games, but I do acknowledge it is a pretty fun game. It wasn't too crazy to get into as a new player. The only thing that kind of holds it back for me is it is definitely one of those games that it's designed to be like endless. It's designed for you to keep coming back and playing every day and check in and get your points and save up. I'm not really usually into those types of games as much, but it is fun. It's a game you could just throw on without having to think too much and just playing whatever, so I appreciate that. I don't know if I would put it in pretty good. We might start reorganizing the list as we get more games on there and I start figuring out. I usually also start adding extra tiers at a certain point, because there's certain games I need to like. We'll leave this here for now, but we'll see if it moves as we build the list up. Okay. All right, let's see what else. Let's see, if we're trying to fill out every tier, not that that's really the goal, but what's a game that was just okay? What's a game that's okay? It's not bad, it's not really good, but for me it was okay. Well, let's see. Which game on here? Van Helsing might fit the spot. It's not a good game. It's very repetitive. It's not particularly well designed. It's not super memorable, but you know what? It wasn't really bad. There wasn't anything about it that was really like, oh, this isn't good. Like this isn't, like this is annoying to play. I think this is the perfect example of an okay game, actually. Van Helsing on the PS2. I wish I could remember more about it, honestly. I might have only beat it in like one stream, even. But it kind of feels like a watered-down Devil May Cry. But at the same time, it was easier than Devil May Cry was. So that's in the okay. Don't Feed the Monkeys maybe would go in there too. This is a game where you're monitoring people, and you have to like take note of things they do and do things to like influence them, so you can like check off these things off of a list, figure out things about the people you're monitoring. And then you unlock more cameras to monitor more people. I think it's actually a really interesting idea for a game. I just kind of had trouble clicking with it. It didn't really catch me, but I think it is a cool idea for a game, so that'd probably go in okay. Yeah, you're probably thinking of another game, Heaven's Research. It's more like Devil May Cry. Diablo clone, you might be thinking of Blood Omen, maybe? I don't know. I need to play Blood Omen. Oh, here's an interesting one. Echo the Dolphin. How many of you remember or know Echo the Dolphin? This was one of those games where growing up, I played it a couple times. I remember never getting really far with it, but it was kind of a neat game. It's one of those games that like, oh yeah, Sega Genesis, you know, there's Sonic, there's Alex Kidd, and there's Echo the Dolphin. Like, Echo the Dolphin is one of the first games I feel like that comes up when you think of Sega Genesis. It was also for PC. So I finally got to give Echo the Dolphin a good try this year as an adult. And it made me realize that it's a really punishing game. It's a really mean game. It's a clunky game. It's interesting. It's a cool idea, but the game itself is very painful to play. I remember being very painful to play. I don't know if it was so excruciating that I would put it all the way in the bottom, but I think I have to put it at least here. But this might get moved around as we go on. I remember wanting to play more of Echo, and I wanted to get farther, but they were just really mean about the checkpoints and the game. It was rough. It was really rough. Dingleberry said I had it when I was a kid too. Never got far either. One of those games where the art and atmosphere far outweighs the gameplay. Yeah, the art was great. The atmosphere, the music was cool. The idea was cool. The story. But the gameplay, yeah, was just... It really could use some help. I even read later there's a level called Welcome to the Machine, which sounds like a reference to Pink Floyd, and I was like, oh, that's cool, but I never got that far. So, it has to be at least around there. This might be a controversial one. Mega Man Powered Up. I'm a big fan of the classic Mega Man games. You know, Mega Man 1 through 8, even 9, 10, even 11. They're finally making a new classic Mega Man game. They just announced that recently, so I'm excited for that. Mega Man Powered Up was a PSP title. It was basically like a remake of the first Mega Man. They added a couple new bosses, which was cool. They redid the graphics, so it was like a chibi style. I remember, like, most Mega Man games I would probably have up here, if not up here. Like, pretty high up. Maybe even like up here, but I'm gonna be honest, I remember this game having a fatal flaw to it. Something about the gameplay. It was like every time you wanted to move, your character like paused for a split second and then started moving. They would pause and then start running, pause. There's something about that just like, it really bugged me, and it was just a basic thing that really annoyed me during the gameplay. So I feel like that's gonna drop it down. The only reason I'm gonna keep it here in okay instead of pretty good is because I just can't remember things about it that made me like really enjoy it. It just seemed like it was a remake of an old Mega Man game. I appreciate the art style and stuff, but that gameplay problem just really bugged me. We need to get more like positive games here. I need to put some more games here that I really liked. Here we go. Deltarune. Deltarune, I think most people would probably rank this very highly. It's a very highly regarded series, I think for good reason. It's a game that has really fun experiences. It has a really cool story, has excellent music, it has great art style, fun gameplay. It's just a really special game series. This is ranking chapters 3 and 4 together because I played both of those this year. I played chapters 1 and 2 the same year before, and I probably put that up here. And normally I would put that up here. I'm gonna bring it down one tier this time, and only for one reason. I did really enjoy both of these chapters. I still think the quality is just as high as it was before. The only thing that's pulling it back for me is I had a really rough experience when I was fighting the optional boss in chapter 3. It was the only time I've ever played a Toby Fox game where there was just some decisions that made things worse for me than I feel like it had to be. Mainly to do with when I was trying to fight the secret boss, and you want to beat the secret boss of every chapter if you can, because you're slowly building up these items that it seemed like they're going to be really important by the end of the game once all the chapters have come out. So I'm trying my best not to skip any secret bosses. So whenever I would lose to the secret boss, it just kept skipping forward to finish the chapter, and I was like, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to miss the secret boss. So I would restart, and I would have to reload the whole game. I would have to go through a bunch of dialogue again, and then finally get back to the boss so I could refight it again. And I don't know why they decided to do it that way. It was driving me crazy because it was the hardest boss in the game by far. So many retries. So you had to keep going through this whole long, inconveniencing process just to get another attempt. I find out later, if you let the chapter end and then reload into the chapter, when you go to fight the boss and you lose, it'll let you retry instantly. I have no idea why Toby Fox would expect the player to just let the chapter end, because if you've been fighting the secret bosses beforehand, you're not going to want to miss that. You want to beat the secret boss. So I don't know. That was a weird decision for me. It was the one time where it didn't make sense to me that they did that, and it wasn't like well communicated to the player that was what was going on. So that's the only reason I'm dropping that down a tier, because that did kind of sour my gameplay experience in that, because that boss took me hours to beat. I'm pretty sure it took a long while, and it would have been considerably faster if I didn't have to do that whole replay shenanigans. Okay. Let's get some more other ones. Oh, so this is Enna or Ina or Ana, however you want to say it. Really cool, surreal, animated series on YouTube, starring this weird character named Enna, E-N-A. Really interesting, cool animated series. And then they decided to come out with a game, and the game I think lives up to the series pretty well. It's a weird, like faux retro PC game experience. I really had fun with it. Only the first chapter was up, but it was free, and then I guess they're gonna come out the other chapters as it goes on. I did like it enough that I did get all the achievements. It was a really fun experience. There was one achievement in particular that was a big pain in the butt to get. You had to basically do a series of platforming perfectly, and if you failed, it would skip you ahead, and then you had to restart the whole game to get another try. That was kind of a pain in the butt, but it's not like you had to get all the achievements. That wasn't that important. It was just something I wanted to do. It was really fun, though. It was really fun. I'm gonna put it here next to Deltarune, just for the fact that it was a single chapter. It isn't super long. If it was a longer game experience, I think maybe it would have went up, but we'll have that here for now. I don't think it'd be fair to put this above 2 chapters of Deltarune, so I think we'll have that there. What else do we have? Can we get anything in favorites of the year? You know what? Okay, there's one here I can think of. Super Smash Bros. Melee. So obviously it wasn't my first time playing it this year. I played it growing up, loved it, one of my favorite games. It's still one of my favorite games. It might be my favorite Smash Bros. Game. Probably between this and Brawl. I think it's Melee. I like them both a lot, though. They're really, really fun. Lots of memories with it. It still holds up pretty well today, in my opinion. This would go in favorites. It's freaking Smash Brothers Melee. Just get... Like, I remember playing the game for the first time, unlocking all the characters, doing all the event modes. The adventure mode is, like, short but sweet. Classic mode is fun. The gameplay is, like, quick, hard-hitting. Really fun. All the characters really pack a punch in Melee. In Brawl, they got a bit floatier. And I feel like in the Smash Bros. After that, it never quite came back to, like, the punch that Melee has to it. Really satisfying to play. And since we did Melee, I should put the original N64 Smash up as well. I also really love this game. Not as much as Melee. It is a little... It's pretty clunky. It's clunky. It's very... like, experimental. They were still figuring out what they were doing. But it is still a classic. It's an epic game. When it came out, especially, you have your secret characters, you have your break the targets, board the platforms, which I really missed. That was a really fun mode. Master Hand. It's a really awesome game. So I'll put that down here. Just under, but it's still a really great game. Okay, what else do we have? Sorry, I wish you guys could see more, but I'm trying to keep it zoomed in so you can... so the icons aren't too small for you. Exit 8 was really cool. It's an extremely short game to the point where I don't think I could quite put it up here. But it is a really cool idea. I know it spawned a lot of spin-off, like knockoff type games where... very basic premise. You're just going through the same hallway and you're looking out for anomalies. And it's a really fun kind of game. And honestly, I'm shocked I haven't played more of the same yet. It's just a fun game. It feels like you could just put it on and play it. But then it's also fun trying to catch every single anomaly and, like, you know, 100%ing it. And I definitely have to play more of these. I know that there's like an official... the same creator made like 1 or 2 other games like this. I'll have to play at some point. But speaking of this, Pexit 8, completely different developer. It's sort of like a parody of Exit 8, and it's a free game. But honestly, somehow Pexit 8 feels like it actually has a little more content than Exit 8, even though it's a free game, even though it's a knockoff. It's just as good quality. It's got a little bit more going on. All the anomalies are penguin themed, which is funny. But it's a really fun game. They did a great job. That has to go up there right next to it. The only reason Pexidate wouldn't rank above Exidate is just because it's based off of it. Like Exidate, you got to give it its flowers for being the originator of that. But so there's that. What else do we have? Chroma Squad. Chroma Squad, you play as these actors who are basically like a Power Ranger slash Juranger. I forget what they call it in Japanese. Like not Kamen Rider. What do they call it? There's a word for it. Super Sentai. Super Sentai. So you play as these actors in a Super Sentai show. And it's basically like a strategy game. I forget what you call it. A real-time strategy game? Where you have your little players on the screen and you take turns moving them and attacking and stuff. There's a word for that type of game. It's not my favorite type of game, personally. So for me, it's not the most fun type of gameplay, but I appreciate the theme. I thought the writing was pretty amusing. It's a cute game. I'll put that in the okay, but just because it's not really my preferred genre of game, that's kind of the only thing that's really holding that down for me. Arctic Eggs, really interesting theme. Love the, PS1 type visuals. I like the weird dystopian setting. I like the concept of you're just cooking eggs for people among other items. The only thing about this is I don't know, like, the gameplay didn't feel right to me. It wasn't just that it was difficult or that it was a bit clunky, because I'm okay with that type of thing. It literally felt like it wasn't responsive in the way that it was supposed to be. And I don't know if it was like my mouse setup wasn't right. I tried messing around with the sensitivity multiple times. I couldn't figure it out. It just didn't feel like the hand was responding right to my mouse, and I would have to like, I would run out of mouse pad when I was trying to like move the mouse to like try to move it was weird. I've never had that problem with another game. But maybe there's a chance it was on my end. So that's gonna keep it down at pretty good, just because I still really think it's a cool game. But the gameplay really, like, at first it wasn't too big of an issue, but as the challenges got harder and harder, it started to really show that it was like, okay, I can't. What's going on here with the pan? Inscryption is I need to play more of Inscryption. I think I did one stream of Inscryption, and I was still learning the game, and I was having some trouble figuring it out. But it seemed interesting. I like card games. Oh, I remember now. It did an annoying thing where I was spending so much time trying to win a boss fight, and it doesn't reveal that it's an unwinnable boss fight until towards the end of it. So I was spent so much time trying to carefully make these moves to try to win this boss fight, and then they did something to make it unwinnable. That was really annoying. I didn't like that. If it's going to be unwinnable, you need to like reveal that sooner. Yeah, I remember stressing out so much trying to make the right moves, and then they made it unwinnable. That was annoying. So we're gonna put that down here for now, but maybe we'll come back to this one day and I'll learn to like it more. Okay, what else do we have? I want to do some more games, some more positively rated games. Shotgun Cop Man was pretty fun. Pretty good game. It's one of those games where you would walk around with the keyboard and then you use the mouse to aim around you and shoot and stuff. A lot like Thing, if you've ever played that, or Madness, those old Flash games. But this game changes things up by having no jump button, and instead you have to shoot yourself. You shoot down to launch yourself up into the air. So that's a really cool gimmick. And then there's a lot of different weapons that behave differently. It was a pretty fun game to play through. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, for sure. There were some boss fights. Part of me wishes there was a little bit more to it. But overall, I did enjoy it. It was a pretty cool. It was a pretty good game. It's one of those things where it makes me want to keep an eye on the developer for any future stuff. Some of these games are going to be hard because it's been a while since I played them. Like Katana Zero, I remember enjoying it. I remember the visuals were cool. It had a pretty interesting story. It had some Suda vibes to it, some Grasshopper vibes, which I appreciated. I want to say that the gameplay was good, but not like super satisfying for me. But I do remember enjoying it, so we'll put that there. What else? Hard AF. Challenging but simple platform game where you die over and over again. It had a gimmick where you couldn't see the stage until you die, and then your blood gets on part of the stage, and then that colors in more and more of the stage as you die, so it makes it so you can actually see what's going on. That was a really cool mechanic. Pretty simple other than that. It did have a little bit of a story. It was a fun, short, quick game. I think I beat it in about 3 hours. Pretty good. Level Devil, sort of the same situation. Challenging, simple platforming game. This one instead focused more on like deceptive levels, where you would be trying to just get to the exit and the game was constantly trolling you. That was fun. I would probably rank those pretty similarly side by side. Okay, what else do we have? Oh, this is a Assault Android Cactus, I think it's called. This was a fun, I think it was like a twin stick shooter. It was a very short game. Man, a lot of these games are gonna go in pretty good. This is where I'm gonna have to make another tier pretty soon. I remember it being pretty fun. See, I want to make a tier. I feel like I already want to make a tier between these two, but we'll wait and see as we add more. Because here's the thing. You have games sometimes that have something like here's Mr. Mosquito, for instance. I think it's a really interesting idea, and it's a cool game, and it's a weird game, so that should go like up here. But the game itself is so rough around the edges that it drops it down. But this is kind of more interesting than some of the other games I have on this list here in the middle. So I kind of want to have it somewhere in the middle. So let's see. What would be between High Joy and pretty good? What about add row below, and then we'll color that. I'm gonna have to recolor these all. That's fine. We'll just name this WoW. Wow. because it's a game that like caught my attention. I respect it. It makes me want to play more of it. But maybe there was just something about it that's keeping it down from being really high joy. So I'm gonna put that in WoW. Are there any other games there that would fit that spot? Maybe How Fish is Made. I think How Fish is Made is a really interesting game. It's just... It makes me want to see what else the developer is going to make. But it's really short, and I don't think there's a whole lot of depth to it. Personally. So I think that's another WoW example. Now the question is, does mouthwashing pass that threshold of WoW to high joy? So I'm thinking about it. It's a excellent horror story. Told in an interesting fashion. You have the jumping timeline. The visuals are cool. I like how it gets trippy. Sometimes you don't know what's reality and what's fake. There was only maybe 1 or 2 parts where I was a little bit confused about what I was supposed to be doing. It was interesting. It's a real downer of a game, but I don't really have a problem with that. I'm okay, actually, if there's a story that's a downer, because it's just, like, sometimes it's just... if something's interesting, it's okay if it doesn't have a happy ending. I think we could push that there, because I think it's definitely... It has more going on to it than How Fish is Made. So I feel like we could put that up there. Any other WoWs? Any other WoWs? If there's any other WoWs. I did see some more games I like down though, now that I've scrolled down, so that's good. Let's put some more in. We haven't gotten any in this bottom tier yet. I guess there hasn't been games that I really hate. I know that these two frustrated me at times, but there's still things, like, they're not the worst. I thought The Blob was okay. I know that's a lot of people like have childhood games for nostalgia for The Blob. To me, it just felt like it was okay. It's a fun concept. It's cute, but it wasn't like it wasn't like really good. Like I don't feel like playing any more of it. Haunting Ground. Interesting idea for a survival horror game. Story was weird but intriguing. Did my music just stop? Hang on a second. I hate that YouTube does that. I did not rank this yet. So Haunting Ground, it's a neat game. It does have a lot of problems. I remember the ending stuff especially. There's this one part in the very end of the game where you have to do this sequence where you're running away from the enemy, and there's a part where the game requires you to do inputs and it doesn't tell you what the inputs are, and it's not inputs you've ever used in the game before. That was horrible. Sometimes progression or puzzles can feel a bit arbitrary. Sometimes the gameplay could feel a bit finicky. It's an interesting game, but I'm gonna have to keep it down to it was okay. So, but see, now once again, I almost want to put another tier between these two. Because I kind of want to put one that's like... Okay, I have another idea for a tier here. This tier will be called... They've got something. There's something about it. Oops. What have I done? There's something about these games that they've got something. Oh wait, I think I put this in the wrong spot. What have I done? Uh-oh. What was this called before? Did I just rename? I renamed Pretty Good by accident. Oops. Let me fix that. I renamed and recolored it. How embarrassing. God, what color was that before? There we go. So this one. They've got something. These are games that, like, I want to put a little bit above okay, because even if I didn't have the best time with them, there's something in them that makes them interesting. So I want to put Honey Ground up there. I want to put Inscription up there. I think that'll be that for now. And now that makes me want to know, do I want to bring anything up here down here? Maybe Cactus. I feel like I wanted to enjoy Cactus more than I did, so I think I'm gonna bring that down. This is going to be a really confusing tier list for anyone who just comes in and looks at it without knowing, having the context of me explaining each tier. I just realized now you can't even see the whole thing. Hang on, I need to zoom this out a bit now, don't I? Now you could see all the tiers. Dang. Okay, so where were we? Kirby Air Ride I thought was okay. Not my kind of game. I'm not usually super into most racing games anyways. Like F-Zero is the outlier where I love the F-Zero games, but other than that, I'm not usually into racing games. I appreciate that they're trying to do something different. But it just didn't really work for me. But I'm gonna acknowledge that it's not a bad game. No Skin was a fun little roguelike. I would like to put some more time into it, maybe. It does seem a little basic. But it was fun for what it was. I'll probably put that here. Let's see. What else do we... Lisa. So Lisa the Painful, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I want to say I ranked that pretty high. Lisa the Painful was a really cool game. Really... very brutal. But it did have humor to it. It had some really cool music. It had, simple but fun gameplay. An intriguing, if not disturbing, world. Lisa the Painful was a little bit... Sorry, Lisa the Joyful was a little bit... I don't know, something about it felt a little less interesting than painful, which is too bad because you're getting more of the world, you're getting a little bit more... you're getting a bit of an epilogue. I don't know what it was about it. The pacing felt a little weird. maybe a little rushed. So I'm pretty sure painful would have been like up here. I think joyful, I don't know. It didn't leave as much of an impact for me. I want to say I would have it down here pretty good. That feels like kind of weird to say, but yeah, unfortunately that's just where it is. Death's Door. That was a fun little almost like an isometric Souls-like type game, which I feel like I played a couple of those at this point. Boss fights were fun. It could be a little cryptic at time, but I feel like that was kind of part of the game. It was fun. It was fun for sure. It was better than okay, but I don't know if it was like a pretty good for me. So I'd probably leave that here. Drakengard. This is probably going to be a weird one because I bet a lot of people would put this lower than I am. And I'm not going to put it good. It's just okay. It's very... like... it's not horrible. I don't think at any point was I like... was it painful for me to play? But it's very monotonous. It's very repetitive. It's very... Sometimes the gameplay can feel a little satisfying, but like, oh, I just destroyed this group of enemies, but then there's 100 more groups of the same enemy, so it's just like a lot of the same stuff. The story was kind of interesting and stuff, but like it didn't really grab me. I wouldn't even say it's up to it's got some. It wasn't even interesting or weird enough that it's got something. I think it's got to stay in the it's okay. Maybe the story would have kept developing and getting more, you know, engaging, but the gameplay was so monotonous that it didn't really warrant. It didn't really make me want to keep going to see. It wasn't worth it. Who knows though? Maybe there's like a really crazy final boss fight and it's really cool. We just didn't get that far. This is called like Aether Dreams or something, something like that. It's like Rivals of Aether. It's a spin-off April Fool's game, I think. Never played Rivals of Aether. I think it's like a Smash Bros type game. But this was cool. Really short. I think it was like half an hour long. But it's basically a WarioWare type game. I didn't know any of the characters, but it was fun. The micro games were well made. They were challenging, but they worked. It had a really interesting, cool boss fight towards the end. I would love to play another game like this, like a fuller game, which I think there is a game coming out soon that's like this. I can't remember it off the top of my head, which is really bad of me because I actually kickstarted it. What is the name of that game? Mindwave. So that I'm really looking forward to. Yeah. That has nothing to do with this, but this almost felt like an appetizer leading up to that. I love WarioWare type games, and if they're done well, I really appreciate it. So I think this deserves to be in at least the WoW. Eclipsium was actually, let's do this first. Haunted PS1 demo disc from this year. Flipside Frights. I love the Haunted PS1 demo discs. They're always a joy to play through. Just all these different bite-sized experiences of these creepy, weird PS1 style, horror games. As the collections have continued coming out, they've kind of lost the plot a little bit. They kind of stray more and more away from the theme, which is okay. I get it. You know, you're kind of just branching out, so there's more options. And this one even had a specific theme to it, where half of it was like nightmares and half of it was dreams. So like, okay, they have even more of an excuse to do that. But it didn't feel like the dream games really fit the theme. I don't know. It was weird. The theming of this was weird. They decided to go with a bunch of cutscenes instead of the more interactive compilation experience like the last couple of collections did. Which is fine. It's not my favorite collection, but it's still cool because it's Haunted PS1 demo disc. I'm always going to enjoy playing through these no matter what, I think. Even if it's not my favorite collection so far, and it feels like the theming is kind of going off the rails. We'll have this in WoW. And now that I've done that, Eclipsium was one of the standout demos from this collection, which then the full game came out and I was able to play the full game. When I played the demo, it was so interesting to me. Like, the weird, like the compressed graphics and the world that you're in and like the messing around with like time and space and stuff and like what was going on. Very intriguing, very immersive. I think the demo had the potential to be... The game had the potential to be up here in Muy Excelente. The final game was a little bit less. Not horrible, not really worse in any way. Really the main thing is that the demo, which was like half an hour long, had pretty much all my favorite parts of the game. And then when the final game came out, none of the stuff in the demo was in the final game. Which was very bizarre to me. I think I can maybe understand why they did that. Like, they didn't want to stay in the same sections for too long, but they really should have kept some of the stuff from the demo, because that was to me, that was some of the best parts of the whole thing. So because of that, I have to keep that here in high joy. But it's still a really cool game. In Guard, it's a cute, like Spanish sword fighter style beat 'em up. Actually, I don't remember if it takes place in Spain. I should probably get that right. Pretty sure it did, but I don't know for sure. Let's see. Let's see. Da 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 da. Okay, I can't find where the game takes place. It seems Spanish sword fighting adjacent, if anything. Hey there, Hedgehog Fanatic. Devon, right? If I remember correctly. But anyways, on Guard, I would put that... Oh, where'd it go? Did I drop it somewhere? I lost it. Only time maybe Echo was using a password straight to the end. Yeah, I don't blame you. Echo the Dolphin is a brutal game. I don't think I would want to play through it all the way from beginning to end. Oh, there's On Guard. I'm gonna put this in okay. It's a cute little Spanish sword fighting beat 'em up. There wasn't like a whole lot to it. Cute little story, decent gameplay, if not a little simple, but it was fine for what it was. Oh, we have Super Mario Land 1 and 2. Super Mario Land is a weird, bizarro 2D Mario game. Nothing feels quite right. Which makes sense, because I know they were developed by not Miyamoto. But they're also interesting for that reason. You see enemies you wouldn't normally see. You see Mario doing stuff you wouldn't normally do. These are cool games. I don't think there's anything bad about either of these. So I think I would definitely put these in the WoW at least. And 2 introduces Wario, which is like, I mean, come on. If you're gonna introduce Wario, that you gotta be worth something. Level Devil was really fun. That was a really fun game. I actually did beat it. I looked into how to get the keys because I wanted to just do it on stream real quick. So I did do that. But they were very tricky to find. Sid Meier Pirates, strategy style game. Not my favorite type of game, but it was fine. So that's okay. Silent Hill 4. So I've played the first 4 Silent Hill games at this point. I've enjoyed them all to varying degrees. The first Silent Hill is still my favorite. I think Silent Hill 4 is the worst of them. It's weirdly put together. It feels rushed. But it's got a really interesting idea. I like the concept of you're stuck in this room and you're trying to figure out how to get out. You're trying to figure out what's going on. Everything's weird. It's got something. It's got something. Even if it's got a lot of problems, and it definitely does. It's got something going on. Fatal Frame 2... I would probably put in the same category. It was interesting enough that I want to play more Fatal Frame games, since that's the first one I've ever played. But it didn't blow me away. I want to see more from Fatal Frame. It makes me want to see more. It felt a little rudimentary, like the idea of like, oh, you have to do certain things to capture the certain ghosts, but it didn't quite. I feel like they could have did more with it, so I need to play more of the games and see if it takes it farther. Little Mermaid for the NES/Game Boy is okay. Extremely short, basic games, but they're fun for what they are. Oh god, here's a controversial one. Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. Another stream I did that got a lot of views. So I love the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. I love the Tony Hawk's Underground games, especially Tony Hawk Underground 1. I think that's the best Tony Hawk game ever made. Tony Hawk's American Wasteland is sort of a sequel to the Underground titles. I thought that this game was the worst Tony Hawk game that I've played so far. Not counting, I know there's really bad ones like Downhill Jam, and I think there's a couple weird ones that I haven't played yet. And I know that this isn't the worst game in the world, but compared to Tony Hawk's Underground, what the hell happened? I had a theory that this game was rushed out because it just felt like it was just held together with duct tape. And I looked into it, and it looks like that's actually true. Neversoft was working on Gun at the same time, which was actually a pretty good game, Gun. So it looked like they had their B team doing American Wasteland, and it was just kind of smacked together. But everybody, so many people love this game. So I saw so many people saying Tony Hawk American Wasteland was like their favorite Tony Hawk game, and I'm sorry to say, but I think it's complete nostalgia goggles, because as a Tony Hawk lover, it felt so bad. It felt so wrong. There was so many things about it. Like, you had to, like, do an hour of tutorials just to learn how to, like, grind and, like, get off your board, and man, it was insane. It was insanity. The story wasn't very interesting. You're only in LA. You don't get to go to other locations. There's no, like, pro skaters in the game at all, which is weird. There was, like, one, maybe. It's a bizarre game. It's a very bizarre game. Heaven's Research says Tony Hawk's Shred is the best game of all time. Well, I'll have to play that next year, and we'll have to see if that's true. And if it isn't true, I'll have to destroy the world. Devon said, I kind of forgot you made AVG and YouTube poops and many YouTube poops. That's true. I haven't made one in a while, but that is true. I made 3 AVG and YouTube poops. Okay, what's next? My Sims Adventures. I thought this was just okay. There isn't too much to say. It's just a cute little kid game. You're like a little secret agent. You go around, you solve crimes. It's for the Wii. It probably would have felt a little better if I was playing with the actual Wii remote, but I was actually emulating this. It was okay. It didn't like wow me or anything. You played My Sims Kingdom on the Wii? Really? That's funny. I never played any of them. Yeah, there's a few My Sims games. I wish I could remember Onimusha 2 more. I remember the first game standing out a little bit more for me. It was fun, but for some reason Onimusha 2 just didn't like stand out to me. I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe I played it really early in the year, so it's harder for me to remember. We'll put it in It's Got Something, because I do like the Onimusha series. I just don't remember this one really standing out. I don't know what it is. Arctic Eggs is a game where you cook eggs in a frying pan. We had a pretty good year. Look, we haven't had anything in the bottom tier yet. I think that's the first time I've ran into this. Although I did not care for Sakura Rice and Ruin. Was not my kind of game. I didn't understand the farming aspect of it. The battle gameplay wasn't that fun to me. It was a lot of grinding. It was a lot of getting things wrong and a lot of time commitment to try to figure out how to do it right. It just didn't really make any sense to me. I didn't care for that. What else do we have here? This Yu-Gi-Oh collection was pretty cool. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Early Days collection. It had a bunch of different handheld Yu-Gi-Oh! Games on it. A bunch of old ones I never played before. A couple that I had played before. Actually a really cool collection. It has a lot of stuff on it. It has like dice dungeon monsters on there. Really fun collection. Really fun collection for sure. A lot of the games are so like old and primitive that you're probably not going to play those, but it's still interesting to check them out. Hell, this was a fun game. I almost wish I owned a copy of it. We'll put that in WoW. Pager was a really fun game, kind of a Kafka-esque situation. You're in a office. The game's entirely in black and white, and you're going up from floor to floor just accomplishing these tasks. It's very surreal, very Kafka-esque. Really cool game. It's just one of those cool games to just experience. It doesn't have too much of a story. It's really just like seeing what's happening on each floor. I think I would just have this in WoW. But you know what this game had that's going to push it up a little higher? In this game, as I was 100%ing it, I found out it has another game within the game that's like an hour long, and it's an entirely different game. It's nothing like Pager. It's a game with color. It plays completely differently. It has like basically a bunch of boss fights. Insanity. The game itself's only a couple hours long, Why on earth did the developers stick another game hidden inside of it that's like a whole hour of more gameplay? Beyond me. They could have like polished that up a little bit and just put out another game, but they didn't. Crazy. That's gonna push that up to high joy just for that though. It was like 2 games in one, essentially, and they were both fun, and they were both different. Okay, what else do we got going on here? Everhood 2. Did my music stop? Let me see. Almost. Okay, we're almost through this. I guess this year's tier list streaming ain't as long. Let's get some easy ones out of the way. Nintendo World Championships Switch version. This game should have been like pretty good. The problem is you can't access most of the game's features without online. The problem is with online, you need to pay for it for Switch. So that was just kind of a ripoff. I'm glad I rented that. So boom, we're gonna drop that down here. And then you know what? They have the gall to... What is this based off of? Nintendo World Championships. The original Nintendo World Championships was an NES cartridge with like NES challenges on it, right? They make a new version for Switch. What do they call it? They call it Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. That makes no sense. This isn't the NES Edition. It's the opposite of that, you dummies. So I'm gonna drop you down another tier for that. For misnaming your game. It should be called Nintendo World Championships Switch Edition. It's ridiculous. Uh-oh, I just made the tier list longer. Now I need to zoom out more. I mean, there's nothing on the bottom tier yet. Screw it. We'll just block that off. We might not even put anything in there at this rate. Okay. What's another easy one to just put out there? Watam was pretty good. It was very, it's by the same creator as Katamari Damacy, but it has a whole different play style. It's really weird. It's a cool experience. It's short and sweet. It actually has a pretty nice lesson in the game about how not everything... You should cherish what you have. And like... I think this could go to WoW. It was a really cool game. Okay, what else we got? Wanderstop. This is by the same creator as the Stanley Parable and the Beginner's Guide. I loved the Stanley Parable and the Beginner's Guide. Those would both be up here, at least. This game was very different. That doesn't mean... Oh, sorry. I just noticed you said I should play the AVGen 8-bit. You're right. I played the demo for that and I enjoyed it a lot. I just haven't gotten around to playing the full game. But anyways. Wanderstop. I appreciate what they were going for. I appreciate that it's a completely different kind of game. I don't think it completely worked for me. It seemed like they didn't know if they were trying to be like a cozy life sim. It didn't know if it wanted to be like just like a touching, like a narrative. I don't know. It felt like it was trying to do a couple different things and it couldn't quite land on what it wanted to be. And so because of that, neither of those things really hit their peak potential. So I don't know. I almost want to put Wanderstop in okay, which is really unfortunate because I loved his other 2 games. Is there something in this that would push it up for me? Let me think. I mean, there's neat character. It's missing something. It's missing something, unfortunately. I think I have to put that down here, unfortunately. Plucky Squire was pretty good. Cute little game where you play a character from a children's book. The levels break the the fourth wall in the terms of you being that character. They use some clever puzzles. Basic combat, basic puzzles. You get to leave your book. It was a little clunky here and there, but overall it was a fun game. I liked it. Mario 64 Chaos Edition. Mario 64 for me would be all the way up here. I have to rank this based on what it is, which it's Mario 64, so it's got to be decent, but it's barely playable. But it's Mario 64. So let's say it's like right here. I don't know. The Polar Express. Childhood game of mine. Childhood movie. Love the movie. Game is basically your usual, you know, movie turned into kids video game. Isn't very great. It's playable, but it doesn't feel great to play. They were going for a lot of different things. I don't think I can put it in okay though. It's just they pretty much slapped it together to make a quick buck for the holidays. Sekiro would be a tough one for me because I generally don't care for Souls games. They're just not games that really click with me personally. I acknowledge that they have a lot of cool stuff about them. The worlds are cool, the characters are cool, the bosses are cool. I wish I liked them more. There's a lot of things I don't like about them that I've talked about a million times. But you know what? Sekiro, as much as I had things I didn't like about you, just as I do all the other Souls games, there is something it had. It did have something, and do you know what that something was? It had a pause button. So you gotta go there, Sekiro. Just for having a pause button, you gotta go there. Just played just finished There Is No Game yesterday. Really fun, based off of a classic Flash game. Short and sweet, took me about 5 hours to complete. We'll put you in. I did have a lot of fun with it. There wasn't any parts where I was like, oh, this is dumb. There was a couple puzzles I got a little stuck on, but we figured it out eventually. We'll put you in high joy. Screw it. That was a fun game. Short and sweet. Everhood 2 is a tricky one. I loved Everhood 1. I'm pretty sure the year I played Everhood 1, it was a favorite. So it was that good. To me, Everhood was a Deltarune / Undertale tier game. Really, really good. Really good. So you would hope that the sequel would be similarly received. I think Everhood 2 is a really good game. They try to change things up with the gameplay. The story's obviously different, though it does touch on some things in the first game. But overall, it did not have the same impact on me that the first game did. The first game has a very compelling story, a very emotional story that has some very good themes to it. The second game, I appreciate that they tried something different with the gameplay, but I think because you're in the first game, you mainly just have to focus on avoiding obstacles, avoiding hazards. You're dodging. It's sort of a pseudo rhythm game. where instead of dodging in rhythm, it's more that you're dodging the notes of a song, if that makes any sense. In Everhood 2, it's much more combat focused. And because of that, it was a lot harder to really take in the experience of each battle. Characters would be talking that you couldn't really see because there's too much else you had to focus on. The first game had the perfect amount of what you had to do versus what you could experience. The story in the second game wasn't nearly as compelling. The progression felt a little bit more all over the place. This is going to drop a number of tiers for me. It's still a really cool game. I think if this came out first and then Everhood 1 came out it wouldn't have set its expectations as high for me, but it did. So I have to put that down here. Okay, so now we're left off with some heavy hitters down here. Some real heavy hitters. We have Portal, The Last Guardian, Windswept, and the Zebra Man. We'll do the Zebra Man because this is a game that probably means more to me than most people. This was by a pretty much a solo indie dev who huge Suda51/Grasshopper fan, as I am, and you can tell in the game, very much influenced by it. It's doing its own thing. The creator is Spanish, I believe, so they have a lot of Spanish cultural stuff going on into it. Not like direct cultural stuff, but just you could feel like it's different, you know. Very short game, but it was very enjoyable for what it was. It was really fun all the way through. I really want to see more stuff by the same guy. I'll put this in high joy just because I really want to see more. Okay, what else do we have? I'm gonna get rid of this bottom tier. Apparently we didn't need it this whole time. Kind of crazy. It does look nicer though that none of them are in the bottom tier, so maybe I should just leave that there for aesthetic value. We didn't play a horrible game this year somehow. Some of these games gave me pain. Sekiro gave me a lot of pain. Echo gave me a degree of pain. 007 gave me a degree of pain. Oops. But, yeah. But anyways. Portal. Very special game. Great game. I think it still stands up today. Very cutting edge for the time. I think playing it again, it would shocked me how short it was. I know it's a short game. I know that's the point. I know it was just supposed to be a little bonus originally in the orange box. But it is crazy how small it is. But it is a really cool game. It's a really fun game. I'm really looking forward to playing Portal 2 properly sometime this next year. With upcoming year. And I'm curious to see if I'll like Portal 2 more than 1. Will we rate Portal? Will Portal 2 get up a tier from here? That'll be interesting to see. So let's leave some room for improvement there. And that leaves us with The Last Guardian and Windswept. So Melee's in the top tier because it's just one of my favorite games of all time. It's kind of not fair that it's up there because I played it before. These two down here that I've left, I think these two are my favorite games of the new games I played this year. They both were very, very impactful for me. They're both very different games. I'm pretty sure the year that I played Shadow of the Colossus, I probably ranked it in favorites. And Shadow of the Colossus, gameplay-wise, is like... It's so hard to say. There are things about Shadow of the Colossus that I enjoyed more than The Last Guardian. But The Last Guardian's story, especially the ending and the relationship between the two main characters, hit me harder than Shadow of the Colossus. And I feel like that's very important. So because of that, this has to go up to the favorites of the year. Very special game, really cool game. And there was parts in The Last Guardian that were a little frustrating. There were parts that were tricky. There was parts where I didn't really know what to do. But that's okay. Really, really cool game. I did rank Tulip 00. That, where did we put that? We put that in High Joy Games. Really weird game. Really clunky game, but it was fun. It was a really cool game. But my one asterisk is that you have to be using a game guide. If you're not using a guide when playing Tulip, it probably drops down quite a bit because the game could be really confusing and frustrating if you don't have a guide. So you have to be using a guide. That's my little detail there. But anyways, that leaves off Windswept, which automatically Windswept goes to favorites of the year. Amazing game, very much Donkey Kong Country inspired, but very much Donkey Kong Country inspired, but it even goes beyond that. The gameplay gets really complex. It starts to feel like a cross between Donkey Kong Country and Celeste. It's very, very challenging, but very, very fun. I would even say addictive. It makes you want to collect everything, and the things you collect feel worth collecting because you're constantly unlocking more stuff as you collect them. I 100% of the game. I got all the achievements. I kept thinking I was done with the game, and then I kept coming back to it. Windswept is a very, very special game, for sure. I need to review. I wanted to do a review on it. I didn't really have time this year, but hopefully I'll be able to. Maybe we'll do some mini reviews coming up, like a 12 Days of Jazemus type thing, except obviously not Jazemus. It'll have to be a different occasion. But yeah, Windswept was really, really fun game. I highly recommend it. Yeah. Man, are we done already? I guess we didn't play as many games this year, and usually these things last about 2 hours long. So I need to up my game, is what I'm learning. We need to play more games. I guess I did have a lot going on this year. Hopefully this upcoming year we'll be able to check more stuff out. But you know what? One good thing, look, the bottom here, I think this is the first time where the bottom tier is empty. I didn't play any games that were just absolutely the worst thing in the world. I think that's a first. So hey, that's a win, right? In some way. Dang, if I knew that this was gonna be so quick, I would have maybe waited later to start this. Or I might have even just did it tomorrow. Huh. But, I guess that's it. I wish more people had joined in because I like hearing people talk about the games as I go over them. Maybe I should have did a poll to see when I should have started this. I don't know. I wasn't thinking. You never know. You know, people are busy. It's a busy time of the year. But thank you to those of you who did join. I appreciate it. It's really hard to talk to yourself when you're going over, especially stuff like this. I'm not playing a game, you know. I'm just discussing games, so just having people here leaving comments in the chat helps me keep the conversation going. So I appreciate those of you who joined in. But alright, I guess that's it. And I think that's probably the last you'll see of me in 2025. So the next stream I do, unless for some reason I decide to do a stream tomorrow before I go to my friend's house for New Year's Eve, but probably not. Guess I'll see you guys in 2026. So, alright, thank you guys for joining in. I appreciate it. You all have a good night. I hope you have a good New Year's Eve tomorrow and a good start to your year.